in the city, back of my neck getting dirt and gritty. Bend down, isn't it a pity? Doesn't seem to be a shadow in the city. All around, people looking half dead, walking on the sidewalk harder than a match here. But at night it's a different world. Go out and find a girl. Come on and dance all night. Despite the heat, it'll be alright. And babe, don't you know it's a pity the days can't be like the nights in the summer, in the city, in the summer, in the city.
Well, good morning. Brock Greenhalgh sitting in for the vacationing Mike Farwell again this week. He's enjoying a few days in the sun and the heat and the humidity. How are you handling the heat today? Heat warning continues across the region for the next few days. Please make use of any cooling stations if need be. Check on your elderly and at-risk neighbors as well, especially in these really warm days. If you have a basement, great place to hang out. How was your weekend? Did you take in any of the Kitchener Blues Fest this weekend? Another amazing weekend of music and food and activities and reconnecting with old friends. Could you handle not turning right on a red light? It's the rule on the island of Montreal. I learned that last week. There's a motion being put forth tomorrow locally to look at the possibility of doing the same thing here. These are all things that we can talk about today. Busy week ahead here as well, too. Filling in for Mike, doing some other things as well. On the weekend, Craig and Greg and Scott and I prepared this weekend for this coming Wednesday's golf tournament over at the Badlands. We're only allowed to use our 7-irons, but we're set. A lot of weapons in this group, just let me tell you. We're ready for all comers. Craig had forwarded an email to us that outlined a few of the other things that are going to be happening at this golf tournament. It runs Wednesday night, 6 until 8 o'clock, and there's still tickets available if you're interested and you want to go and check things out for yourself. You can sign up as an individual. You can also sign up as a group of 4. You're looking at it's the first annual CFFB 7-iron scramble. Some of the other things that are going to be coming up, you cannot use your 7-iron as a pool cue. There is one hole where we have to chip rubber ducks into a bucket. Another hole where we are blindfolded. The last hole, I believe, involves a unicorn, 16-foot high unicorn. All of these details would be available if you reached out to Brian Burke. Individuals, you want to sign up on your own, it's $60 per individual. Team of 4, $220. Our team, Craig and Greg and Scott and myself, we're calling ourselves the Happy Gilmores. We have limited edition 570 News Radio hockey jerseys. They are white, black, and red. And they are, I think they come with a built-in air conditioning unit. I hope so. We will be the most stylish team out on the golf course. Based on scores, we will also be most likely the most honest team on the golf course as well, too. So that's what's coming up this week. Going into Toronto this week to see a Blue Jays game. Lots of other things that I'm looking forward to, but dealing with the heat wave. That's the one thing. If you made your way down to the Blues Fest this weekend, I don't think you were disappointed. I was unable to be there Thursday night, but apparently 77-year-old Burton Cummings still knows how to tear down the house. That's what I was told when I spoke to some friends there. On Friday night, I was lucky enough to make my way down to check out a tribute band for the Allman Brothers. And when I first got there, I had done a little research. I thought it was a group that was coming in from the States. Fortunately for us, it was not. It was a group of local musicians, and they knocked my socks off. They were unreal. Couldn't believe how well they nailed the Allman Brothers. So, again, no cost, just some amazing talent. Went back down again in the middle of the day on Saturday to take in the workings on the guitar of one David Wilcox. That guy is 75 years old. He was on stage an hour and a half in a pair of jeans, a white button-down shirt, and he sounded just as good Saturday as he did 35, 40 years ago when I first started listening to his music. Went back down again yesterday morning to take in some of the gospel blues, the voices of angels. That's what I was listening to. That's how I spent my weekend. I would love to hear from you how you spent your weekend. You can give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. You can also reach us toll-free, 1-800-570-5715. We're going to make our way through this list of 100 things that you could cross off your list in order to live a cool life. And it may be that you do these things already. But we'll check them off over the next, maybe the next couple of hours. We should be able to get through this list of 100 things. You can write them all down if you'd like to as well. The first one, always butter the darkest side of your toast. Just kind of covers things up, makes things taste a little bit better. Hold the door open for strangers. Never a bad idea. Call an old friend for no reason at all. If you considered me to be an old friend, you can give me a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell, toll-free 1-800-570-5715. We will take a quick break. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio.
Tell me something good. Tell me that you love me, yeah. Tell me something good. Tell me that you like it, yeah.
Brock Greenhalgh with you this week as Mike Farwell begins his preparations for another season of OHL hockey. He was last spotted at the Odd, practicing from the media booth. We're keeping to the regular schedule as best as possible this week, but maybe some tweaks here or there. That being said, here are the Farwell Show 5 for Monday, August the 10th. 5 stories meant to start your day off with a smile on your face. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Waterloo Region needs your help. They have upwards of 70 kids and youth who could benefit from your time. If you'd like to be a mentor, you must be 18 or older, live, work, or study in the region, and be looking to be a positive influence on a young person aged 6 to 16. That's your chance to give back to the community if you're not doing so, or you have more time on your hands than you realize. Blue Jays back in the friendly confines of the Rogers Center tomorrow for a 9-game homestand. They will face the Cubs and then the Texas Rangers and then the Pittsburgh Pirates over the next couple of weeks. Get a chance to go down, watch a game. This is the year. Write it down somewhere. This is the year. Kitchener Blues Fest wrapped up for another year yesterday. After 4 days of amazing music on 3 different stages, plans are already underway for 2026. As you heard earlier this morning, construction starts today on a new space-themed playground down in Churchill Park in Cambridge. The build will include a 26-foot tall ship, slides, climbing bars, and a hammock for Dad while you run around and play on the spaceship. And number 5, Riverfest Allura kicks off this Friday, featuring a weekend full of amazing music. I've said it before, I'll say it again. There is never a reason to be bored living in Waterloo Region. There you go. 5 good news stories to start your day. What's your good news story? Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570. Phone lines are always open throughout the entire show. 1-800-570-5715. And taking a look at that list, crossing things off the list in order for you to live a cool life. There are 100 of them on the list. I don't know if we'll get through all of them today, but I'm going to plant a few more seeds in your brain just to motivate you to do the best that you can do. Learn how to apologize. Not an easy one, but an important one. Learn how to say hello in 3 languages. Never know when that might come in handy. Complain when it's right. Knowing when it's right is half the battle. Find a new friend. That's a tough one as you get older. You think back, when you're a kid and you're playing on the playground or you meet up at school, first time you've ever met someone, one of the first things I remember doing when I was younger was asking someone if they would be your friend. Hey, Devin, do you want to be friends? And Devin would say,
absolutely.
That's as simple as it gets. I don't know if we have the same abilities when we get older, but now that I've asked Devin, and I knew he was my friend beforehand anyway, too. So finding a new friend, and it could be, you could be 95 years old and you're still finding new friends all the time. Always hold the elevator door. That just goes without saying. Wear what you want. 24/7. All right? 24. It doesn't matter if you want to wear pajamas to work, unless there's a uniform that's expected of you. Life is too short for boring socks. Let's just put it that way. Embarrass yourself on occasion. It's okay to do that. It's okay to laugh at yourself. I'll give you a few more here. Stick up for your friend, whether they're in the right or whether they're in the wrong, right? I hear Devin going off on something. I'll be there for him. You don't have to worry about that. I like this one. Barbecue as much as you can. We have a gas line for our barbecue. We're lucky. I will barbecue in the winter in my shorts as I'm wearing whatever it is that I want to wear. Find a favorite book. That's a toughie. There was a news story that came up the other day about a gentleman who had created a book list, and these were all the books that he'd read since 1962, and I think he unfortunately has passed away, but he had over 3,500 books that he had read. I was saying to my wife the other day, that's the one problem. There are more books out there than you'll ever be able to read. So, can you find a favorite book? One that you would recommend to other people? One that you would be able to quote from? That's another good one. Last one I'm going to give to you before we take a break. Learn how to safely use precision kitchen knives. All right? Not just whatever you picked up at the corner store, at the, wherever. Get yourself some decent knives. Use them safely. Don't run with them. We learned that in kindergarten. We are lucky in the fact that my brother-in-law is a chef, and he has provided us with some pretty awesome kitchen knives and has given us some lessons too. So there you go. Some other things to think about. Let's take a quick break. Give us a call, though, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell, toll free 1-800-570-5715. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh with you this week as Mike gets some time to relax because he works hard for his money, so you better treat him right. Coming up on the show today, summer jobs that never materialized. We will talk with Tim Lang. He is with Youth Employment Services. Just after 10 o'clock this morning, we'll share some information with you about an upcoming fundraiser to help women battling homelessness in the region. We'll chat with a UW professor about why female pilots perform better than their male counterparts in stressful situations. Kim Wilhelm will stop by the studio for our monthly check-in with the Food Bank of Waterloo Region. Brian Allison is going to join us at 11 o'clock this morning for This Week in Music History. Looking forward to that chat as well, too. Then, 11:30 this morning, David Drewe back in the studio for Drewe's Views. a bevy of interesting topics in store for you today, coming from the mind of David Drewe. Then, the last hour of the show is yours. Talk back from noon until 1 o'clock. It's your chance. You can rave about the weekend. You can rant about the heat, even though that won't do anything about it. That's okay. It's all right. Whatever's on your mind. To get you thinking, I would love to hear from you your best/worst summer job you've ever had. We're going to be talking about jobs today. We're going to be talking about the plight of young people trying to find a summer job. And here we are. It's the 10th of August. There isn't a lot of summer left. Boo. There are a lot of young people out there that might be looking and saying, well, I'm heading off to college. I'm heading off to university. Maybe I will need to work part-time if I haven't found something in order to help cover the costs. Your best/worst summer job. If you know anything about Southern Ontario and the fact that I grew up in Chatham, there is a job most Chathamites will have done at some point in their lives. If you don't know what it is, I'll give you the term. You can look it up. It's called detasseling corn. Basically, you walk up and down the aisles, listen to me, farm boy. You walk up and down through the fields of corn, and every other row, you remove the tassel from the top of the corn. It is hot. It is disgusting work. You get cut by razor-sharp blades from the corn stalks. It is a rite of passage for a lot of Chathamites. I was lucky in the fact that I did it one day, woke up the next morning, and my eyes were basically swollen shut. Yay to me for being allergic to corn. Who knew? Working in a mall, probably one of the best jobs ever back in the day. I don't know, kids don't even go to the mall anymore. That was great because I worked at, remember Black's Cameras? I worked at Black's Cameras at the Chatham Place Mall, got to wear fancy clothes, in the air conditioning. It was a sweet gig. Your best and or worst summer jobs you've ever had. We are coming to the bottom of the hour. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. Toll free, 1-800-570-5715. Let's get an update from the newsroom. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh sitting in for Mike Farwell this week. All week, that's correct, from today, the 11th of August, until Friday the 15th. Thanks for catching that. Faithful listener, I said it was the 10th. Just came back from Montreal. They're a day behind. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. The unemployment rate for youth aged 15 to 24 has been on the rise here in the region. Latest numbers show it sitting at almost 17% unemployment. Summer is rapidly coming to an end for many young people heading off to school or heading back to school in town, and it has been a struggle. Tim Lang is President and Chief Executive Officer of YES Youth Employment Services. YES provides training and programming and job placement for youth, and he joins us this morning. Thanks for giving us some of your time today, Tim.
Good morning, Brock.
Tim, when we look at unemployment numbers in Kitchener and Waterloo and Cambridge, that youth unemployment sitting up around 17% versus the overall unemployment rate at about 5%. How did we get here?
Well, a couple of reasons. A couple of years ago, we had record numbers of new Canadians, which long-term can help the economy, but short-term put a lot of extra pressure. You know, 1 million people came into Canada, and a lot of them below the age of 30. So more people, same number of jobs. So right off the bat, 2 years ago, that put pressure. That's starting to subside a little bit, but then we have what everyone's hearing about, the tariff issue and the volatile, almost insane leadership out of the States causing volatility. And when there's volatility, a lot of businesses are worried, so they pause or delay hiring. So if they, if even a small business, they're typically going to hire one or two people. They might just hire one or none, and then multiply that by thousands of businesses in the Tri-City area. It adds up.
If we take a look at Toronto, for example, we know that there was the hiring opportunity at the CNE, and I think numbers were record numbers of people showing up for the trying to work for 15 days or so. That probably speaks to the same sort of thing happening in other communities as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, every business these days is asking for online submission of resumes. So when anything is posted or people hear about something, they can easily do it online, and so businesses are getting thousands and thousands of resumes in some instances. And from the youth perspective, then they're kind of lost in the quagmire of resumes. And we have examples of things that you can do to get out of that, but it's certainly tough. We get thousands of youth coming to us in desperate situations, saying they've applied so many times and have not got no response back.
When you're working with youth, Tim, what are the key skills that you're telling young people they need in these times that would make them stand out when they're putting in an application? Is it going into the workplace and visiting with the manager? Is it the way that they're wording things? What makes the most they stand out with these kinds of things?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, on the one hand, you've got to have a great resume. It's got to speak for you when you're not there. And certainly at all the free organizations across Canada that are there, you should definitely use those to enhance the resume, enhance their interview skills. But even online, there's AI that can really improve your resume, so that's great. But what you said, again, really hits the nail on the head. You got to set yourself apart from the crowd. So even though they say submit it online, we always advise, do something different. Go in, try to meet the hiring manager, and that might separate you from the pile. We had one youth a couple of weeks ago who even did some research and sent in a letter with their resume saying what they thought they could do, how they could help that organization, and that really impressed them, and they got the job as well. So
great idea.
Anything you can do that's creative. Yeah, exactly.
We know a lot of young people might be heading off to college or university in a few weeks, so they may not have been able to nail down a summer job. Are you finding a lot of young people are now focusing on finding something that they can do while they're away at school that might not have been in their plan before, but maybe they're looking at a part-time position while they're studying?
Yeah, there is some of that. Now they're looking, especially those who had a hard time and even missed a month of finding a job. They're still looking to see if they can squeeze in some earning time in the last few weeks. But then if they can in their area, if they're at Conestoga or whatever, Waterloo or Lurgan, wherever, if there's a job that's close. Because the problem is there were actually jobs available, but they were not just down the block. A lot of youth had to travel like an hour to get them, and that's not as easy to do when you're in school.
Exactly. You've got to find something that's close at hand. Desperate times, desperate measures. Have you been working with some kids that are, they're finding themselves having to become an entrepreneur and come up with their own job?
Yeah, we have. I mean, there's a couple of things. I mean, we actually have an entrepreneurial course. So
perfect.
And then that's one way, instead of finding a job, the old adage is create a job. But that's not easy as well. But if you have an idea, certainly that's a great thing to do. We always encourage that because it uses a whole lot of skill sets that are great. But the other thing that a lot of youth can do is upskill in other areas. So we're offering courses in, cybersecurity or cloud computing, areas that there are still in-demand jobs. And, of course, the trades, if anyone is interested in that, there's huge demand. So that's a great growing area. And
it's important for us to keep pushing that as well, too. When you talk to employers, what are you hearing from the employers?
A lot of the employers, we deal with thousands of employers. So right off the bat, we are hearing that they're nervous, that they don't know what's coming down the pipe because of Trump's tariffs is going to get worse. We try to encourage, all businesses to, not react that proactively because it might not happen. In fact, things might be fine there. We might see a bit of a boom. So if they are still in a situation where they can hire and should hire, the data shows that when you hire young people, not only can help the business, it helps that young person. And when young people are working, that has a real positive effect on the economy over the long term.
Absolutely. Tim, I appreciate you giving us some of your time today. I know you're busy, but we're going to keep the conversation going on this end. But all the best as you're working with these young folks.
Yeah, thanks so much, Brock. Appreciate it, and happy to talk anytime.
Sounds good. Thanks again, Tim. That was Tim Lang, President and CEO of YES, that's Youth Employment Services, talking about ways young people can adapt to the challenges of finding a summer job or any job. What's your experience been when it comes to nailing down a summer job? We'll take a quick break. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Give us a call.
Every business these days is asking for online submission of resumes, so businesses are getting thousands and thousands of resumes in some instances. And from the youth perspective, then they're kind of lost in the quagmire of resumes, and we have, examples of things that you can do to get out of that, but it's certainly tough. We get thousands of youth coming to us in desperate situations saying they've applied so many times and have not got, no response back.
That was Tim Lang, President and CEO of YES, Youth Employment Services, talking about the challenges that young people have had over the last little while when it comes to securing a summer job, part-time job. He talked about the fact that we had an influx of new Canadians a few years ago, a lot that were under the age of 30. The concerns consistently with tariffs and how companies just are putting things on hold right now. Over the summer, I've talked with a lot of family and friends, and that seems to be one of the things that keeps coming up, is that businesses are taking a wait-and-see approach, and the people that suffer the most tend to be the youngest, and those positions just aren't available. Brock Greenhalgh with you this morning, sitting in for Mike Farwell. We're talking about jobs. We're talking about summer jobs and looking at the best and worst summer jobs, what your experiences have been. Maybe you have a young person in your life that's been looking for a job this summer and it just hasn't gone their way. Or maybe it has. We just want to hear what your experiences are. Mary, what's on your mind this morning, Mary?
Brock?
Yes?
I don't like your taste in music if you're picking it.
What? Mary?
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
Well, you know what? We're all entitled to my opinion. That's okay. What?
So you're foisting yourself upon all these 100 and some odd listeners with your taste.
I'm always a teacher. That's the thing, Mary. I'm teaching everybody.
Oh.
So what aren't you listening? You don't like Donna Summer? Work Hard for the Money? Is that the song you didn't like?
Well, whichever you've been playing so far. Uh-huh. However, I do have a grandson. He had worked at Toyota for 2 years, and then he made a big mistake of his life, and he went out to Edmonton with a girl.
Oh boy!
Yeah.
Was the mistake the girl or going out there and looking for a job, or both?
Oh, he wasn't looking for a job.
Oh,
he had a good job here. His mistake was going out there, but however, that fell through, and he came home this February, and because he worked at Toyota, he had contacted the guy that had hired him there,
mm-hmm.
and that's could have been January, February, and he said, anytime he's got a job. Well, then the tariffs came.
Yeah.
And he was waiting to hear from the guy, but here's another, and maybe you even know it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I said, what about, are you hearing anything from Toyota? Oh, they're not, they're only hiring immigrants.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Not too sure about that one.
He knows the people there.
Right.
And that's the truth, because the government subsidizes their wages.
Well, that's something for me to look into, Mary, and I will.
Well,
whenever I hear anything I don't know anything about, I gotta go. I gotta go check it out.
Yeah. So, so our kids between the ages of 18 and 25 are the highest unemployed in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and looking at our numbers, it's but again, and it's the same. That idea of back in, and thanks for the call, Mary. Back in my day, right? The jobs may not have been glorious jobs, but it got your foot in the door. And it's hard to, but that's something that I will do some digging in and take a look at that, because I want to know if that's the truth, and the idea of who, when you line people up, if you're here, right, there's a reason why you're here too, right? You're looking for a better life. What are your experiences when it comes to summer jobs? Have you got kids, grandkids that have been looking? Have they landed anything? Are they waiting to go before they go back to school? it's a challenge because we know that a lot of those, I just talked about it, the idea of the mall. Back, that used to be one of the things that they'd always have for sale signs, help wanted signs at the mall. But people shop online. Maybe you have your license and you can be a delivery person. That's a possibility for you. Maybe you've as Tim was saying, it's about creating your own job in some cases. That idea of becoming an entrepreneur and selling items online or setting up dog walking services, babysitting, cutting lawns. I know it's hard to cut the lawn when they're all brown out there. It's all been burnt to the ground. What about your worst summer jobs, though? A friend of mine, when we were growing up, he had what I thought at first was the best summer job ever. I won't say the company that he worked for, but basically his job was counting dump trucks on a work site, counting the trucks coming into the work site and making sure the same number of dump trucks went out of the work site. Got paid quite well, 12-hour shift. He said he would sit there, read a book, do those things, because it wasn't like they were coming in 100 at a time. The problem was he would start to question himself. When he would see a dump truck, he would think, did I count that one already? Did I put it on my list? I don't know if it was a make-work project for the individual, but I would think that I wouldn't last at a job like that very long. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570, or 1-800-570-5715. Stay with us. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh sitting in for the vacationing Mike Farwell. We're talking jobs. We're talking summer jobs. We've got lots of things on the go. I wanted to come back to a comment that Mary had made. Done some research. I suggest you do some research as well, too, because the company she named, be very careful, right? Does not specifically only hire immigrants. They're hiring based on qualifications and experience, regardless of immigration status. Salaries vary based on that. Another thing that I took a look at was a small business owner chimed in and said, the only incentives I'm aware of are for hiring students, and they're not necessarily very useful incentives. We've talked about that as well, too. There are wage subsidies for hiring new Canadians, but often it's for people that have high-skilled STEM workers, so science and tech workers, aim to get them into the workplace. We all have those stories, and we know someone said this and someone said that. I'm not arguing that point. What I'm saying is that if you're here, you have as much of a right to a job as someone else. And as she said, he made a mistake. But we can't just make these blanket statements without looking them up. And if someone wants to refute that, I'm fine to do that as well too. We're looking at that idea of what were your summer jobs, right? What were the things that you did in order to get yourself through school? Because right now the children, young people are really struggling with what's being available out there, and whether or not the tariffs are having an impact on that, or people being told, well, apply again in 6 months and come back to it. We'll be able to, might be looking down the road. Do you go out and find your own job? That's the other thing. Do you go out and create your own job? Looking at what are the opportunities that are out there for someone who has the skill sets. I mentioned before, I was walking through downtown Victoria Park this weekend for the Blues Fest, and a young girl had set herself up outside of the park. I'm guessing she was 8 or 9 or 10, and she had her blanket out in front of her, and she had made some jewelry. So these are some of the ways that you can find a way to if you need some money in your pocket, some walking around money, whatever you need to do. If you are one of the lucky ones and you were able to land a job, good for you. Realizing that, hey, there's going to be a shift as well too, and we talked about it already. The group of people that have been working here this summer and are heading back to college or heading off to university, those jobs that they're going to be walking away from, well, they become available as well too. And it's that idea of when we're looking at youth unemployment sitting at 17% in our region. And we know it's fluid. We know that it fluctuates because of school and because of all of the other things as well too. Getting yourself that first job, have your skills. When we talked with Tim Lang, he talked about you have to separate yourself from the pack. If someone is looking at your applications, remember reading somewhere and it said a prospective employer is going to look at your resume for 10 seconds the first time, and it's going to go into a yes or no pile, and then they're going to go back and take another look at them. What do? And Tim said the other thing is you go in and introduce yourself to the manager and say who you are and that you would like to work there. You even can give them ideas on how you can improve things. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570, or toll free 1-800-570-5715. Let's get an update from the newsroom. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh sitting in for the vacationing Mike Farwell this week. Apparently, he is on tour again, this time with the Backstreet Boys. We'll see how if he talks about it. He may not want to talk about it when he comes back next week. Don't ask him about it either. Local realtor Mag Springle is spearheading a fundraising event to help support the YWCA Cambridge Women's Emergency Shelter. And she's got some time on her hands this morning to talk about it. Thanks for joining us on the show today, Mags.
Hi, Brock. How are you doing?
I'm better now that I'm talking with you.
Oh, that's lovely.
Welcome. And you've been connected to the housing blight, both with the region and now as a realtor. What have you learned from those experiences, Mags?
Wow. Well, so much. I mean, I think my passion for social justice really started back in the day in my undergrad in food security issues. Are you familiar with the term food security?
Yes.
Okay, right. So it's the whole idea that, like, affordable food for everybody.
Right.
But when I started working in the region in affordable housing, I really got the whole idea of, there's even a phrase used, housing first.
Right. You'd look, yes.
And that without housing first, you can't really think about things like nutrition. It's just not your top priority.
And it's too bad. It should never be the decision between the rent or the groceries. But we know that people have that discussion in their brain every day.
Exactly. Yes, they do. Yeah.
So what if someone's getting to they're hearing about this and they want to learn a little bit more about Soulful September? What's going on? What's happening?
Yeah. So. Soulful September came about because we wanted to do another type of event or something great for YWCA. So we previously already got out of staging, and that was a big thing for us to do. But it was a big thing to do and also to get out of. But we donated $30,000 worth of furniture
right.
to YWCA. And so we wanted to continue supporting them. And this time we chose specifically the Cambridge shelter for women, the emergency shelter. That's been up in the past year. So it's brand new. It's one of its kind.
Yes.
In the region, yeah.
And it's a template, I know, for a lot of other communities. They come and they look at what's been going on at the YWCA down in Cambridge, and they want to use something very similar in their own communities, which is a feather in the cap of the YWCA. And also, it's great for us to be able to showcase, well, here's how one way that we can help manage homelessness anyway.
Yeah, it's such a great program in that it's not your typical emergency shelter when you think of one where it's really just a bed for the night. It's one where they really do have wraparound services for the people that are attending, things like meals, so and helping them with mental and physical health services, things like navigating housing, helping, employment, because when you think about it, how hard would it be to get yourself back on your feet with, let's say, employment when you don't have a place to rest your head at the end of the night?
Absolutely. I had an interview a few weeks ago, and we talked about how, especially for women, when it comes to homelessness, that it's cyclical, that it started quite possibly when they were in their teens, and there just seems to be no safe way of escaping from that. And you need to be able to provide that, as you said, those wraparound services to say, let's take a look at your resume, look at your skills, look at all of the things that you can do and to give back to the community, and we're going to keep you safe, and we're going to be able to. You can rest at night. You can wake up in the morning and feel like you're ready for the next day.
Exactly. Like, imagine if you're a person that doesn't have that much family around or anything, to be able to have those kind of people that partner with you to help you get your feet off the ground. Like, I don't know any resume that I never applied to a job that didn't have my mom look at it. I have those people in my life, but some people don't. And so it's amazing that there's organizations out there that can act as those supports in our lives. So
is yoga one of your passions on the side as well?
It is. Yes. Well, and so I really, I've been doing yoga for a year, though I kind of switched to weightlifting because apparently that's what you need to do when you're hitting 40 as a woman. But yoga is still a passion of mine. And I really thought, especially because yoga really has this community aspect to it about caring for one another, that would be an amazing foundation for this idea, this like magical idea of having people come and take care of themselves for an afternoon while being magically able to also help other people at the same time.
Have you got a financial goal in mind with the event?
We do. We're trying to raise at least $2,000.
Awesome.
And we have spots for $85,000, so that would definitely cover it.
$85,000, and you're looking to raise $2,000. What's the cost to get involved?
So it's $33 to attend the event.
$33. All right. So we're gonna pump this up. We're gonna promote it. We're gonna let people know what's going on. And a side question: when it came to the staging, have you gone online with the staging now, where people can put on in the pictures whatever they want?
We do. We do still sometimes use that, but really we recommend that staging a property is the best, just because sometimes what happens when you do that, the virtual staging, it ends up being a bit of like a letdown when you walk into the space.
Right. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, and the other funny thing is that you won't completely realize, but spaces actually look so much smaller when your eye doesn't have a place to kind of break up a space for furniture.
All right.
So we really ultimately recommend, going for the full shebang if you can. Yeah. Awesome.
If people want to reach out, Mags, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
The best way is my email, which is mags at the Springle team. So Springle, our last name. It's like Sprinkle, but with a G instead.
Right.
And it's .com. So mags at thespringleteam.com.
Perfect.
And if they want to look for the event, I've tried Googling it, and it seems to work.
All right.
So if you Google Soulful September, it should come up, and it's under Humanitix tickets.
All right. We will keep the conversation about this going. Mags, I'm going to let you go, but thanks so much for giving us some of your time today.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
No problem. Good luck getting to that $2,000 mark.
All right. Thanks, and I appreciate all your support.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
We're going to take a quick break, but you can give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell, toll free 1-800-570-5715. Stay with us. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. The sweet sounds of Under Pressure by Queen. You might be wondering, why would we play that? Well, let me tell you. I'll get to it in a second. Brock Greenhalgh sitting in for Mike Farwell this week. Mike will be back next on Monday. A new study from researchers at the University of Waterloo is challenging gender biases in aviation using eye tracking technology and a high-fidelity flight simulator. A study found that female pilots perform better under pressure. See what I did there? When put in a mock emergency situation, 10 men, 10 women participated in the study. All were general aviation pilots with the same experience. Dr. Naila Ayala is the lead author of the study. She joins us this morning. Good morning, and thanks for giving us some of your time today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So what did the pilots actually face when they were in the flight simulator?
Yeah, so we had them set up to do a couple of different landing scenarios. The first, I'd say 8 scenarios were all very typical landing challenges where we kind of changed the weather up on them from being a bright, sunny, very easy day to some significant crosswinds. Now, of course, what the study really started to point some differences out on was this last scenario where we surprised all the pilots coming into the study with an emergency scenario. And the specific one we were looking at was a total engine failure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what were your what the reactions were and how did people handle it?
Yeah, so all the what I should say is all the pilots coming in were fully licensed to fly the aircraft that we had simulated. So they were able to manage the total engine failure. Now, of course, without knowing beforehand, a lot of them were still surprised, but as you can expect, thankfully, they were all able to manage it and land the plane safely. There were, however, differences as we've kind of demonstrated in our study where female pilots were able to identify what was going on quicker than male pilots, and they were also able to land the plane much faster and were able to manage things like the airspeed more appropriately than their male pilot counterparts.
And that must generate brand new questions. What sort of theories do you have, if any, when it comes to biology, when it comes to reacting, or those reaction times?
Yeah, there's definitely a number of different questions coming from the study. The one being what is the source of these differences? Of course, we used eye tracking, and the reason why I like to use eye tracking is because where we look generally gives us a lot of good insight into what individuals are thinking, the movements they're planning, and their decision making. But what was interesting is that when we were looking at the eye tracking data, it didn't actually show any differences. So that didn't actually give us any concrete information as to why these differences in performance were there. And so the biggest question coming out of this is, well, where are those differences occurring? And we just have to use different research tools to kind of unveil that.
When we take a look at the numbers, female pilots make up maybe 6 or 7% of the pilot population here in Canada. Maybe there's some of our younger listeners out there right now considering a career in the skies based on your research.
Absolutely. I actually am really happy that this is one of the biggest impacts coming out from this type of work. And that's one of the things that motivated us to also look into this, because there really was no research looking into these types of differences. And I'm really happy that, this study, whether it showed no differences or some differences in one way or the other, I think it was really important to have this to start to generate those types of discussions and showing, this next generation of pilots coming in that, women do belong in the cockpit and they should strive to be in this type of career path because it's pretty exciting.
Absolutely. And this also allows you now to continue your research. What happens next for you?
Yeah, well, we've got a whole bunch of different things we're looking into. And of course, I think this really started to expand our desire to continue looking into gender differences in general. A lot of my research hasn't actually looked into these differences, mostly because there's so few women going through the training and continuing on to a full career in aviation. So just getting enough women to even come onto the study was amazing.
I know that you're busy, and we want to keep the conversation going on our end as well, too. Thanks so much for giving us some of your time today, and let's talk again in the future.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
That was Naila Ayala and University of Waterloo. They're doing research when it comes to looking at reaction time, basically, and dealing with what pilots are looking at and dealing with on a daily basis as well, too. Let's continue the conversation. We'll take a quick break, though, but you can give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570. You can also reach us toll-free, 1-800-570-5715. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh sitting in for the vacationing Mike Farwell today. Never fear. He will be back in the building next week. He's taking a break. Hope he stays cool in the heat somehow. We were talking before about ways to live a cool life. We got through a few of them. We've got a few minutes before we have a break at 10:30 in the news. After that, in studio, this is a treat because I don't get a lot of visitors when I'm filling in for Mike Farwell. Kim Wilhelm is going to join me in the studio. And we're going to have a chat about what is happening over at the Food Bank of Waterloo Region. Yeah, how to live a good life. Start a collection of anything. And depending on what you choose, it can be, for I'll give you an example, baseball caps. I am somewhat follically challenged, so baseball caps seem to be the thing that if I'm traveling anywhere, I'll pick one up. And sometimes the collection gets a little out of hand, shall we say, and I have to rotate them, but that's okay. Research your favorite band's total history. That's kind of a cool one, too. 11 o'clock today, we're going to talk This Week in Music History, so it kind of ties into that as well, too. Enjoy your morning coffee at home. That's a nice one, right? Just sit there on the back deck or the front deck or in your kitchen and enjoy that. Take street pictures on your phone and then share them with other people on your street, right? I think that this is a little bit of an old list because people seem to take street pictures with their Ring cameras these days. Find a new group to hang out with. We talked about before finding new friends, right? Like Devin. Devin's my friend. Vote. Or if you don't, here's the other thing, and Mike's talked about this before too. Vote, but if you don't want any of the choices above, you can still go in and vote, and you can spoil your ballot because they still count those. And that's important for you to take a look at. This must be it's an American list because number 25 on the list says, learn more about Canada. Who wouldn't want to know more about Canada? Send handwritten letters. I can't remember the last time I would have written a letter to somebody. Buy local art. That's a good one. There are tons of choices around the region where you can get some local art. Adopt a pet. I know David Drewe is coming in later this morning, and he is all about supporting the KW Humane Society. So adopt a pet if it works out for you. These are great ideas. This one's a toughie. Get arrested once for a minor infraction. Yeah, well, you could check it off your list of things to do, I suppose. Use coasters for beverages. That just goes without saying, I think. You learn anything when you're at your grandma's house. And we talked about sharing your favorite book. Share your favorite movie as well. Let people know. And at the same time, listen to what they are sharing with you as well, too. The clock on the wall says we're coming to the bottom of the hour. Let's get an update from the 570 News Radio News Center. But stay with us. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh filling in for the effervescent Mike Farwell, who is on tour across the province looking for the world's greatest butter tart. One thing we just don't agree on, because I would always eat them with raisins, and I know that he will argue that till his dying day. In the studio today, I am joined by Kim Wilhelm. She's the CEO of the Food Bank of Waterloo Region. We've talked on the phone before. We have never talked in person, so it's a special day today. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Thanks for having me. And I'd just like to say raisins all the way.
Yeah, see, Mike, two against one. And I'll keep track as the day goes on and see what's happening. So lots of things to talk about today, Kim. We've got food assistance use in Waterloo Region, insights on what's driving people to access support. Quick update on the Summer's Full Bellies Happy Hearts campaign. Maybe you can just dive in and let us know what's happening.
Absolutely. Well, the sad news is I don't have a good update to share. And that is that right now in Waterloo Region, we continue to see the highest need of people who are accessing food assistance in our 41-year history. And the need is not only significant, but it's persistent.
Okay.
And our data is telling us a powerful and complex story about just the depth of food insecurity across our region. It's not just about numbers. It's the people behind those numbers. Right. It's people, it's families, and it's neighbors who are forced to make impossible choices each and every day. And when we dive into that, we look at the month of June. Nearly 26,000 people in June accessed a food hamper program through our network. Wow. And so when we talk about food assistance, there's various ways that people can access food assistance. Mm-hmm. It might be through a food hamper. It might be through a meal program. These were just individuals who are accessing a food hamper. And it's a 5% increase over last year. And while we're seeing an increase in the number of individuals reaching out for help, the good news story is that there is a small decline on new households that are accessing food assistance. So that's the good news story.
Good.
But we still welcomed 316 new households into the network just in June. So altogether, our programs were visited more than 54,000 times. Wow. So on average, people are accessing food assistance 2 times a month, and that's 13% more from last June.
Do you ever get a breakdown of the numbers? Is it right at the end of the month before? Is it in the middle? Are there times they're just like, I can't, we've got this far, we need to go to the food bank? Or is it just kind of all over the place?
It really is all over the place. Yeah. We are tracking the numbers on a daily but weekly basis. So we look week over week to see. And I know that both May and June particularly had 1 week each that were record-breaking weeks.
Oh boy.
And truthfully, those record-breaking weeks did fall towards the end of the month.
Okay. And this is the other thing too, and it's important for us to tell these stories. How important is it for you you're right there at the forefront to hear the stories of these people? They must, I would think that some people come in, they just want to get things and be gone. Mm-hmm. But their story is important. We need to hear about what's happening. Mm-hmm. We don't want to. It's personal, obviously, but you must hear some stories that just breaks your heart.
Mm-hmm. Food insecurity is complex, and what I've learned over the years, there's no specific reason why somebody may access food assistance. Right. And really, what we do know, though, it's an affordability issue.
Right.
So that you could encompass as the umbrella reason, but it could be a single mother or a single father who's trying to manage one or more jobs with raising a family. Yeah. It could be a single person who's relying on one income.
Right.
We know the benefits of a double income household. It could be the parents or the couple who are both juggling full-time jobs, but they don't pay enough.
Right.
It could be the person who's on ODSP or OW, and their rent doesn't even get covered.
No.
In that.
We've talked about that before. If you're on ODSP and you get, let's say, $1,200, $1,300 a month, and you're going to pay for rent and you're going to pay for groceries and you're going to have a life, some entertainment or whatever it happens to be, it's impossible.
It's absolutely impossible. Somebody on ODSP, I think the latest figures are about $1,376 and change in a month. Can you find housing in this region for less than that?
Yeah.
So already you're behind.
Right.
And that's just one expense coming out of your bank account.
Yeah. And it's there's you're always trying to play catch up with something like that. If we take a look at the Full Bellies Happy Hearts campaign, what's happening there?
Full Bellies Happy Hearts, a true definition of community.
Good.
So the good news is, this is where I do get excited because I love Full Bellies Happy Hearts. It really is the definition of community coming together. So we have raised, are you ready for this?
Yes.
$1.2 million of our $1.5 million goal.
Love it, love it, love it.
But that's not 1.5 yet. We still have more meals that we have to raise before the end of the month. Well, it's an incredible milestone. We are asking for the community to push us over our goal of 1.5 million meals.
And how do people get involved? What are we're tapping into? We're tapping into the region here. What do you want them to do?
There's lots of ways people can get involved. Easiest, fastest, if you're able to make a financial donation, head over to our website at thefoodbank.ca. You get a tax receipt right on the spot, and financial donations are matched by the Ellen Bush investment team.
All right.
So your donation is going double as far. So that's the first way. Second, have a barbecue. Call your friends over. It's the summertime. Have a barbecue and ask people to bring a donation of food or funds to the food bank. And not only are you helping community, but you're having fun while you're at it. If you're out at the grocery store and you have room in your budget to pick up an extra item for the food bank, you can do so. Think about kid-friendly snacks, applesauce, fruit juice boxes, pudding cups, granola bars. Those are great things to help us with this campaign. Love 1 in 3 people in our community are under the age of 18, which is one of the reasons why we're focusing on a campaign around children.
All right. Full Bellies, Happy Hearts. Do you want to stick around for a little while?
Sure do. All
right. We will take a quick break where we'll get an update. But yeah, stick around. We're just hanging out here chatting about all the great stuff that's going on. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. Stay with us, though. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh with you this week, filling in for Mike Farwell. Never fear, he will be back in the building on Monday. Our guest today is Kim Wilhelm. She is the CEO of the Food Bank of Waterloo Region. She stops by every month, and she and Mike have a chat. But luckily for me, she's here today. We're talking all kinds of things, how you can help out the food bank, and I know that people are doing that already. There's a shortfall right now of about $300,000. We've got 3 weeks left until the end of the month. So we're going to make this happen.
Oh, we absolutely will.
Yeah, we're going to make this happen. If we pull the lens back a little bit, Kim, and you've touched on this already a little bit, what are your insights on what's driving people to come to you?
Yeah, like I said, there's no really single reason why somebody may need to access food assistance. When we started food banking 40 years ago, the goal was for us to be a short-term solution, because there's always the time when somebody's car breaks down and they need to put an unexpected expense in. Maybe there's family members who are sick and they maybe have to take some time off, or just generally something has happened, a job loss, and there's a temporary reason, but we get back on our feet and we move on again. Yeah. Unfortunately, what I can say is that's no longer the case. Yeah. Food banks are becoming a reliance for individuals. The cost of living continues to be enormously high. We talked a little bit earlier about the cost of housing. And with housing being so high, housing is greater than the income at times.
Absolutely.
Not leaving anything left for clothing or food. And these are basic necessities we're talking about here. Yep. Basic. On average, in the month of June, I shared that individuals who are accessing food assistance were doing so on average about twice in the month.
And so like we said, there's that time that just comes up, and it's just like there's nothing left in the bank account, or there's nothing left in the cupboards. We're going to be heading over to the food bank. And I know I've noticed this recently, and I know it's probably not a new thing, but there are storefronts or restaurants or grocery stores that will offer sort of discounted food, and not that it's spoiled or anything like that, and that might be able to meet the needs of some people, but we're talking about people that are just there's nothing there, right? And they need to be there. And as you said, 40 years ago, this was just a temporary measure, but it's no longer that. You've got people that have to be reliant on it. At the same time, and I mentioned this off the air, you've got people like Kim, who this is a life's work. This is a passion. This isn't in the how'd you get into this?
Oh my goodness.
Put you on the spot.
Chance.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I've been in nonprofits my entire career, and being in nonprofit, though, if I'm going to raise money for something, I have to do something that I'm passionate about. Right. And there's so many incredible charities right across the region, but if I wasn't personally connected to them, it was going to be difficult for me to raise money. Right. And so I don't want to discount any of them, but, you know, I started out in healthcare. Everybody, we used to say, you know, from the cradle to the grave, healthcare touched us. Same thing with food. Yeah. Food is a basic human right. We can't get through life without food. Right. We've all had that time when I'm going to say we've been starving, right? Yeah. Starving. Yeah. For many of us, we're fortunate that when we're starving, maybe we stop on the way home from work or from school, pick something up through the drive-through, or we get home and we have dinner waiting. But for more than 73,000 people in our community, when they get home, their cupboards are empty, or there's no money to be able to make that stop at the grocery store, at the restaurant for food. And then what? Right. There's basic human right. Yeah. If we, and I mentioned this before, we're 3 weeks out until the end of August. When we make the shift and we go back to school, how does that impact the needs at the food bank? What do you see happening at the food bank when the calendar flips to September? So a few things happen in September. One, we have incredible partners like our partners at Nutrition for Learning who are providing food during the school day for children. Right. But we know that it's not just the school day. I mentioned this off air, when food is needed. That's right. And so we need to support families all day long, all year long. But then there's other things that happen in the fall, in that, you know, we've been very fortunate to have a very hot summer, but things will change at some point in the fall. And the weather will turn. People will, you know, they may need to put more in payment for their furnace bills, their heating. They may need to purchase winter coats for their children, because we know most winter coats are only lasting our children a year or less at a time as they're going through their growth. Shoot through the roof. These are added pressures on families is what I'm getting at. Yeah. And so we typically in the fall do see that spike in food assistance as people, you know, everything's a cycle. Right. Well, and it's important for us to realize that, because I would think too that the summertime can be a slow time, right? Mm-hmm. Especially as everyone, you know, might be on holidays and all of those things. We'll take another quick break, but we'll wrap things up with Kim after the break. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. You can also reach us toll-free, 1-800-570-5715. Stay with us. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh's with you this week, and I have had the pleasure of talking with Kim Wilhelm, CEO of the Food Bank of Waterloo Region, for the last little while. And we want to keep the conversation going. We know that Mike has Kim come in once a month to have these chats. Off the air, we were just talking about the needs for volunteers. What if someone has some time, Kim, and they want to give their time, any specific skill set that you're looking for, or is it like, you've got a pulse, come on down? We look for volunteers to help us in every part of our operations, from helping us in the warehouse to helping us deliver food or being community ambassadors for us at events. Whether you can give 1 day a week or 1 or 2 days a year, shifts a year, we've got something for everyone. There's so much information on our website at thefoodbank.ca. And if you're interested, the reality is we would not be able to do the work that we do without our incredible volunteers.
I'm assuming you have contacts with other food bank organizations in other communities. Are they dealing with the same sorts of situations? And is there a forum for you to sort of get together and share ideas? Hey, this really worked for us, and maybe you want to give it a try.
Yeah, every community. There's food banks in all communities in the province, and we're fortunate that we got together in June just to share and see where we can help each other. And while the community is a little unique, broadly, we're all struggling with the same thing. Whether it's volunteers, whether it's fundraising, whether it's delivering food, there's something that we can learn from each other.
Have you got some volunteers that are lifers? They've just been there forever, and this is their passion.
Yeah, the great thing about the Food Bank of Waterloo Region is we can find something that fits the individual. Some people literally volunteer 2 or 3 times a week for the full year.
Yeah.
Other people, you know what? I can't give that type of commitment, whether they're working full time still or busy at volunteering with other organizations.
Right.
But maybe, there's an event that really speaks to them. We have some volunteers. We have a construction event that happens every March during March break.
Right.
We have volunteers that just come in during that event to help us with that, which is exactly what we need.
Yeah.
It takes literally hundreds of volunteers to make that event happen. So literally we have something for everyone.
We've got about 30 seconds. I'm gonna open it up to you. You can wrap things up. What else is on your mind? What do people need to know?
I am so deeply grateful for our community. Our community continues to step up to feed our neighbors. And without our community, we wouldn't do that. From donations to volunteers to food and fun drives. Without community, we wouldn't exist.
That hits in the feels, Kim. We're gonna collect our thoughts here for a second. This is what it's all about. And if you can give of your time, even as Kim is saying, if it's an hour, a couple of hours, and help your community, we know that no one can survive on their own. We all need support of our friends and family and the community that's around us. And it's been great chatting with you. Thanks so much for coming in.
It's been great chatting with you too. Thank you.
No problem at all. And go raisins when it comes to butter tarts. Listen, we'll looking at the clock on the wall. We're at the top of the hour. We'll get an update from the news center. But don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh with you this week as Mike Farwell takes a break. Not sure if he's riding his two-wheeled stallion across the blacktop right now, but he will be able to fill you in when he gets back on Monday. Brian Allison is a musicologist. He manages the Facebook site This Week in Music History. He's here to tell us about what went down this week in the world of music, and he's got some time to share with us today. Brian, how are you today?
I'm great now that I'm talking to you, Brock.
Oh, Brian, it has made my day.
You're welcome.
Give us some background. I was looking through this week. There's tons of things to talk about right off the bat. I was playing Woodstock and the original way back in 1969. I don't claim to have been there. Never made it to the 94 or the 99 edition. Maybe we can jump in with that. What was happening back in 1994 when it comes to Woodstock?
Well, it was the Woodstock sequel, as they call it. So they thought now seems a good time, 25 years later, to see if folks would still be interested in the Woodstock as a name, as a brand. So they put together Woodstock 94. It was billed as 2 more days of peace and music. And it did fairly well. 350,000 people traveled to Saugerties, New York, and there was an all-star list of bands, as you would expect, fully: Aerosmith, The Cranberries, Metallica, Nine Inch Nails, Salt and Pepper Blind Melon, Sheryl Crow, Primus, and even some acts from the original '69 show, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Joe Cocker showed up, the band, Country Joe and the Fish. So it was a reasonably good success. A lot of rain and a lot of mud. The weather was not as cooperative, but folks seemed to enjoy themselves, and that spawned, of course, Woodstock '99, which came 5 years later, which was a absolutely spectacular failure.
I was going to say that's when, and it's on Netflix. I think it's The Dumpster Fire or something like that. That the wheels fell off, and it was just it was no longer all about peace and love. It was about setting everything on fire and crowd surfing on top of the crowd on pallets of wood. A little bit of a different vibe 5 years later. I wonder what happened between those two dates.
It just took a turn for the worse, and I think '99 was just the culmination of, a lot of things. Price gouging, fans that were begrudging the whole event, artists that were encouraging them to begrudge the event, and things just went sideways very fast. Yeah, I've seen a couple of documentaries about it, and it's pretty astounding how dangerous that situation became. So, needless to say, there will not be another Woodstock in all likelihood.
The other thing, too, I wondered if it was just the change in the venue. It seemed to be the one in '99 was like at an old aircraft hangar, and it was out in the concrete, and people were just hot the whole time. It just didn't look like a really great way to spend a couple of days listening to music.
No, and I think, again, it was just the culmination of a lot of bad elements that came together, during that weekend, and it just sort of exploded into a fiery, epic mess. So it's too bad.
Yeah.
It could have been a great thing, but it didn't turn out that way.
If we jump ahead a little bit, actually head backwards and land in the middle, around the middle of the '80s, this was quite the week for young Bryan Adams, wasn't it?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, Bryan just exploded. So August 10th, 1985, Bryan had been around for a few years, of course, but he scored his first U.S. #1 album with Reckless, and I think everybody knows how huge Reckless was. Released in '84, it had 6 top 10 singles on it, all classics: Run to You, Somebody, Heaven, Summer of '69, One Night Love Affair, and of course that scorching duet with Tina Turner, who was also massive at the time that this album went to #1. So Reckless was just a huge record, went on to sell 12 million copies worldwide. Still one of the best-selling albums by a Canadian solo artist in history. So it was a pretty amazing accomplishment for Bryan Adams.
And he's managed to stick around over the last 40 years or so, and he's reinvented himself as a photographer and then getting back into the music. What is it in your mind that kind of resonates with people when it comes to Bryan Adams?
You know what? I think that he's quintessentially Canadian. He's a Renaissance guy. He's a pure rock and roll artist, and by all accounts, everybody in the business, inside and out, will say that he's one of the best, nicest guys in rock and roll music.
There you go.
Great guy, possibly one of the nicest guys in Canadian music. Very open to fans, very open to critics. So I think just being Canadian has helped Bryan's career. Have you
managed to see Bryan Adams in concert?
I did, actually. I saw the anniversary tour for Reckless in London, and it was spectacular. He played the album front to back. Of course, we were all kind of sitting on the edge of our seats when he came time to play It's Only Love, because we thought maybe Tina might show up, but he did that one on his own and talked a lot about the songwriting and the album itself, and going from relative, more he wasn't an obscure artist. He had some hits certainly here north of the American border, but this was a different world for him, crossing over into U.S. success.
And it's good for us to see that happening sometimes. But
awesome.
You're willing to stick around for another segment, I'm thinking.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, listen, we will take a quick break. We'll get an update from the News Center, but stick around. We're going to talk some more with Brian, and we're going to talk more about this week in music history. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-570-5715. Stay with us. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh in with you this week as Mike is away. We have the pleasure of yakking with Brian Allison, doing a little chit-chat about this week in music history. If we take a look 69 years ago to the day, Brian, this young fella releases a double-sided single and changes music history. What was going on back on August 11th, 1956?
Well, for many, many, many years, what would become the biggest selling single in history.
Wow.
Elvis Presley released Don't Be Cruel with the flip side, Hound Dog. So two huge big hits, and they both hit number one and remained there for 11 weeks at number one, which Elvis would hold that record until 1992. So pretty impressive when you consider going through all of the remaining 50s, 60s, 70s, and the 80s. And no one was able to touch that record.
Unreal.
Impressive.
Unreal. And I mean, at the time, I think a lot of people didn't know what to make of this guy until people started seeing him live and doing his shows. And he was on the road all the time. And the fans started falling in love with this guy. And it just snowballed.
I think Elvis was the first media darling.
Yeah.
You know, he was the one who created an image based on, what people saw. They saw him on television. And this was the great golden age of television. And Elvis was able to bring himself into the living rooms of millions of people worldwide. And it just took off from there. He just became a media sensation.
Talking about media sensation, in and around the same, within a decade, you've got August 15th, 1965. The Beatles head to New York's Shea Stadium. What happens there?
Well, this was the first real big stadium show by a rock band. I mean, rock acts, even Elvis prior to this, played large venues, but never a stadium, never a sporting stadium. Shea Stadium, there's 56,000 people there. So, of course, this is Beatlemania at its absolute peak in 1965, and the Beatles manager, Brian Epstein, says, you know what, we're going to book Shea Stadium. I bet we can sell it out. And they did. Largest concert attendance ever at the time. They played their hits that everybody would have expected. Total length of that epic Beatles performance, about 30 minutes total.
Come on.
They played, yeah. Ticket prices in 1965, $4.50 to $5.75, which is about $45 to $60 today.
Right.
So when you think about it, somebody said to me today, "You want to go see the Beatles for $60?" Yeah.
And you might not know the answer to this, but why just a 30-minute set? Was it just this was what the plan was all along?
There's a lot of stories about it. So the security to get them in and out of Shea Stadium was unbelievable. They actually came in an armored vehicle.
Oh my!
Because the fans were just fanatic. So the logistics of it. They played very fast. If you've ever seen recordings of the show, they played at a breakneck speed. So they probably could have stretched that set into 45 or 50 minutes, but playing the speed they did, it only took about 30 minutes. And that was the way it was planned. It was going to be a blitz, come in, play to the crowd, and get out. I was trying to find some information about how much the Beatles got paid for that epic event, but there's so many different numbers out there that it's hard to figure out how much they were actually paid for it. I mean, they did make money off of it, of course, but it wasn't anything like a Taylor Swift concert would generate today.
Right. I remember talking with a friend years ago when I was in university, and he mentioned that one of his parents' first dates was going to see the Beatles when they played at, I guess it would have been Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto.
Yep.
And their complaint was you couldn't hear anything.
No, I know people who were there as well, and they said the same thing. It was just like listening to a jet engine playing, running at full capacity because the screaming of the young fans was just, you couldn't hear the music anyways. And that's really why the Beatles stopped touring a couple of years later, because they said there's no point in us going on stage and not being able to even hear ourselves, and nobody can hear us play. It's kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, and you want to go and enjoy the music, and I don't know if you've ever been to the Kitchener Blues Fest here, We just wrapped that up yesterday, and if not, Brian, you've got to make sure you make your way up here next year, because there's not lots of screaming. There is at the end of each song, but you get to actually listen to the songs.
I think maybe the age of, I don't think screaming girls will ever go away. There'll always be boy bands, of course, but there was nothing like the Beatles, and I don't think there'll ever be anything like that again.
Speaking of the Beatles, if we zoom in on one specific Beatle, Paul McCartney, back on the 14th of August, 1985, Michael Jackson has kind of gains something but loses a friend. What happened there?
Wow. So what happened was, in 1969, Northern Songs, which is the Beatles publishing company, was sold to a company called ATV Music, a large publishing company. And in 1985, ATV went up for sale. Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson were good friends. And Paul had even advised Michael on buying music publishing as an investment. Mm-hmm. And Paul even tells the story about Michael saying to him, someday I'm going to buy your songs, sort of jokingly.
Right.
Well, it came to be. So when ATV put the Beatles' music up for sale in 1985, Michael went behind Paul's back and outbid him on his own songs. $47.5 million to control 4,000 songs. About 250 of those were Beatles compositions penned by Lennon and McCartney. And Paul McCartney was not happy. He said this was, we were friends. Why would you go behind my back and take my own publishing from me? And Michael says, well, it's just business. We're still friends, aren't we? And
no,
I don't think so.
No, that changes the dynamic right there. And it's also, it's awful, right? You just think this. You put your heart and soul into this, and you could have easily stepped aside and let Paul, and I think Yoko Ono was possibly bidding on it as well too. People who actually were connected to the music. No, that goes down as a really, really bad decision.
Songs, are like your children.
Yeah.
You practically birth them, and Paul has said, these were my babies, and somebody took them away from me. Happy ending. In 2016, the Jackson estate sold its share of Sony ATV, who had merged in 1995, for $750 million, and McCartney was eventually able to get back a lot of control over the Lennon and McCartney compositions, thanks to copyright termination laws that allow authors to reclaim rights after a set period of years in the U.S., which is 56 years.
Oh, my gosh. So well, a little bit of a happy ending there.
Yeah. With the earliest Beatle compositions in around 1962, this meant that by 2017, 56 years later, Paul could start to reclaim some of those. So he's been getting them back slowly. Yeah.
Well, listen, you're willing to stick around for one more second. We're going to wrap things up, but you're not going anywhere, are you?
No, I'm happy to be here with you.
All right. That's awesome. We will take another quick break. Stay with us, though. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh in with you this week as Mike Farwell is on a much-needed break. Brian Allison joins us, as he does every week, to talk everything related to this week in music history. And we've got time for another quick chat. I'm going to turn the dial to August 16th, 1986. One of the first bands I sort of really got behind when I was a younger kid, Def Leppard and Rick Allen. 2 years prior to that, had an awful event happen in his life. But what happened in 1986?
Well, I think Rick made the biggest comeback in music history, if you ask me.
Yep.
I mean, this is a rock drummer, who lost his arm.
Unreal.
I mean, most people are like, okay, well, I guess he's not a drummer anymore.
Yeah.
And, of course, this is a catastrophic injury that happened on the last day of the year in 1984, December 31st. He'd been driving and was in a rollover, and it was actually the seatbelt in his car that severed his left arm from his body. And doctors initially were able to reattach it, but an infection set in, and they had to amputate. So that was it. But within a month, Rick was figuring out how he might be able to continue to play the drums with one arm, and he did. He was fitted with a partially electronic drum kit, which allows him to use both of his feet to activate drums that would normally be played with the left arm. And he came back. The Monsters of Rock Festival, Castle Donington in their home of England, August 16th, 1986. They introduced Rick as, the returning drummer to Def Leppard, and the crowd went crazy. The ovation lasted nearly 20 full minutes.
Wow.
Which brought, of course, everybody in the band to tears.
Yeah.
And then he sat behind the drums and played for Def Leppard, and he's still sitting behind that kit today, drumming for Def Leppard. Just an incredible story of resilience.
Well, you think how many people would be faced with that and just be like, you know what? How am I supposed to go on? This is my bread and butter, right? This is what I've trained my whole life to do, and now I've lost half of the ability, basically. Well, maybe a quarter of the ability, but he just kept going.
And Rick Allen, don't forget, he was a young fella when he joined Def Leppard when I think he was 17 years old.
Right.
He was a young fella. So, this was him at the very, very start of his career when this accident happened. And I guess he just didn't want to go out that way. He said, you know what, we're going to figure something out. And with some technology, he was able to do that. And, he's an incredible drummer, an incredible talent, incredible human being. So we remember that event.
I love that. Listen, Brian, we're coming to the bottom of the hour, but thanks so much for giving us your time today. This is when I fill in for Mike, this is one of my favorite half hours of the week.
Well, it's great talking to you anytime, Brock.
All right, you take care.
You too. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
That was Brian Allison. He's a musicologist. Please check out This Week in Music History. You can find that on Facebook. Stay with us. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio.
Has anybody heard from Crazy Dave? Has anybody heard from Crazy Dave? Has anybody heard from Crazy Dave? I haven't seen hide nor shaggy head of that boy in 4 years. But you'd know him if you met him. Played harmonica like the cat lost his balls. Yep, Crazy Dave. Had a toothy smile as big as my hand. Always chewed on a toothpick or a long blade of grass. Drank from the bottle, rolled the worst cigarettes. Was impervious to insect bites. It's one of the best damn tree-planting highballers east of Prince George.
Well, good morning, David Drewe. This is Brock Greenhalgh filling in for Mike Farwell. And David joins me in the studio. Always fun to have people face-to-face. How are the roundabouts? Oh, nothing? No sound over here?
I'm going to switch mics.
All right, he's switching, and we're moving. This is live radio, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Added
David was just yakking about the roundabouts on his way here to work today. Any better on that side?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So,
do you want to jump back into street signs and we want lights again, or you're happy to have the roundabouts?
It was just that last minute traffic construction. I was very worried I was going to be late. And a couple of weeks ago, I was late for the very first time in all of my appearances, and I just didn't want it to become a pattern.
I hear you, and that's the anxiety just shoots up here when you're running by. I hear you exactly. So the way it works with David Drewe is he sends over to Mike his thoughts, his musings. He gave me a mitt full of them today. I'm going to let him do his thing. I'll intersperse with a few questions or directions. But the first thing that you sent over to me was, and I thought this was interesting, Ohio versus Stratford, where you're looking at two different cases of man versus water. What's happening, and why do we need to know about this?
Well, in Stratford, the Avon River had a bit of a flash.
Yes.
And a dam got overcome.
That's right.
And because of debris that would wash through it, they couldn't close it again. So Victoria Lake in Stratford is drained.
Is gone. What happens to the swans? What goes on to the swans?
Well, exactly. So, in Canada, one way to look at it is we can't keep a lake full.
Right.
On the other hand, J.D. Vance, the vice president, wants to go on a canoeing trip. The Secret Service arranged for the water levels in the Ohio River to be raised so that his family could have a better experience.
Well, maybe that's, you want to show. It was his 40th birthday or something, too, wasn't it? Come on.
But talk about a God complex.
I would just like to raise the water a little bit, please, and you make that happen for me.
What's the impact upstream or downstream of, changing the water levels? But it's so interesting on so many different levels. It's like literally they have the flexibility to do that on the whim of a dictator, let's say. Whereas, the park in Stratford, like that's the heart of, and we're not quite able to manage that.
No, the debris is jammed in there. The water maybe the water. I know water flows down. Maybe the water from the Avon River or from the lake rather went down to help J.D. Vance. It's all been for a good cause. So thank you to the fine folks of Stratford.
It's all connected.
It all makes sense to me and how those things unravel. I like how your mind works. This is you see these connections and you're just like,
well, that's just it. That is it. I'm a news junkie. I'm a consumer, and so I'm reading different stories and I see different themes, and they come at me in weird ways sometimes because I'm ADHD. So it's really hard to follow a random conversation with me because I change the subject mid-sentence sometimes without knowing it.
Well, so I think you and I we're of the same age, shall we say? We don't have to throw numbers
roughly
out.
of the same vintage.
Yes. I was never told that I was ADHD. The term was always
bad?
Hyper.
Oh, okay. See, hyper came later. First, I was just bad.
Oh, bad.
David refuses to sit still.
Right.
David refuses to pay attention. And then it was hyper.
Yes.
And then it was hyperactive.
Yes.
And I was an adult diagnosis of ADHD, and it was the best thing ever.
And was it a self-diagnosis before a medical? Were you like, there's something, man? And
it was something.
Yeah.
But I would not have thought ADHD. And as soon as I was told that and read up on it, then it was like, okay,
It makes sense to me.
And that makes it so much easier to not be frustrated with yourself, but to go, I'm frustrated with the ADHD. Right. And then it doesn't become this spiral. Yeah. And that is the best thing about it.
Well, and I think that's important for us to be able to look at. I think back to, being 3 years old, and my mom she was older. She was 44 when she had me. So she's in her late 40s. She's got a 3-year-old at home that if I want to talk to her, she's on the phone with her friend, I would just go over and hang up the phone. And then I knew that she had to talk to me. And the doctor's advice to her was put me into daycare. So I started off at the YMCA as a 3-year-old with 5-year-olds. And Brock's just hyper. He's But as an adult, I have never had the diagnosis, but I have those tendencies, and I know they just you gotta play to your strengths. It's a superpower.
If I go to an event with a lot of people, I don't want to see anybody for the next 2 days. I get an ADHD hangover. And recognizing that it's not me being. Knowing that this is medical. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's good to know.
That's right. You're done peopling. For a couple of days,
and it's fair.
Because it's exhausting.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So there you go. We're way off topic.
Yeah, that was a good tangent.
That was. I like that. When we come back, we'll take a break. When we come back, I want to learn a little bit more about Marilyn Gladu down in Sarnia and her thoughts and her musings and what I can't even read you the notes. Can't even read the notes. Stay with us, though. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh in this week for Mike Farwell, and I am joined in studio today by David Drewe. This is Drew's Views, and we, as we said, we got off on a bit of a tangent there. That's what happens when you put two hyper children together in the room together, and there's limited toys.
Man children.
So I'm looking through the notes, and you send over, and I will edit for radio, saying that you agree with what the thought process is behind this woman's request, but really it's not a good idea. It's not a good look to be talking. Marilyn Gladu, what do we need to know, and why is she in the news right now, and why she should just not be in the news right now?
Well, if you haven't seen her name in the headlines, it's because the headlines have generally said conservative MP without naming her.
Right.
And that's part of where I'm going with this.
Okay.
A couple of weeks back, we had the MAGA musician.
Yes.
Who was touring Canada and kept having his concerts pulled out from under him. The most egregious, in my mind, was the city of Montreal telling a church that their service was now a concert somehow.
Right. Sean Foyt. Yes.
I don't want to give him the recognition.
Okay, all right. We'll scrub that. But
just to say, you know what? I do not agree with the guy at all.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of detestable. But there's so much stuff that if stuff that I found detestable wasn't allowed,
right,
it would be a much better world for me. For people who disagree with me, that would be a bad thing. It was a charter rights violation. But she sent the letter to Minister Guilbeault, who's responsible for national parks, saying he needs to apologize.
Okay.
And, I kind of agree.
Right.
But I'm sorry. All the headlines say conservative MP.
Right.
And I'm really having trouble finding other headlines about what the Conservatives are talking about right now.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, to 98% of Canadians, this is not the issue.
No.
And to 98% of Canadians who are scrolling through the headlines, even if they read, this is what the Conservatives are talking about, and that is the wrong thing for, I'm going to say us in this sense, but I'm sorry, if we are going to be talking about Sean, whatever the next name was, that really doesn't motivate me to get out and vote in any way at all, because I'm more concerned about jobs.
Yes.
I'm more concerned about housing. I'm more concerned about climate change.
Yes.
And I'm most concerned about where the kids' jobs are coming from for the next generation if AI takes over all the entry-level jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, these are the
things that people care about, but we've got this. Stephen Guilbeault should apologize to that kind of detestable character. And yes, morally, I think he should, but that's not the argument you want to take on publicly and make it seem like it's the priority. And unintentionally, because this has been thrown into the vacuum while the leader is busy on local issues in his riding by-election, this is the entire Conservative agenda for the week now. And that's just not good for the party.
And I know exactly where you're coming from, because it just, as you said, this becomes fodder for conversations just like we're having right now. If we can turn the dial a little bit and we take a look at what's going on in his riding, 200 different people running in that riding, is that the idea?
214, and about 200 of them are all with that just protest your whatchamadiggy.
And the last I heard was that you will be expected to go in and actually write on the ballot who it is you're voting for, rather than...
because it was just physically impossible to come up with a ballot that big that would be visually accessible.
What do you think of that?
It's the best solution possible.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, these people... Putting many candidates on a ballot to call for proportional representation is like throwing paint on art to protest climate change. Right. It's like there's too many steps removed for it to be a straight line. I'm sorry, you're just a bunch of jokers who think you're gaming the headline. You're going to have cool bar stories. Right. And I believe so much in there's one independent candidate who's running, who's not affiliated with them, who's local, and oh my gosh, she's darn impressive. She is darn impressive. Like somebody like that is who loses when these other 200 losers from all over the country come along and treat it like a joke.
Right.
So anyway, I'm sorry. That was my little soapbox rant.
And I wanted to get your opinion on that, because I thought, does this bode well for Poilievre when everything else is going to be, that's the sideshow, and the votes are going to happen however, and he's just going to be here and going, all right, well,
they're going to have the list of names right at the ballot station, so you can, and they've said they're going to try and be flexible, so you know what I mean, if you spell Poilievre without that final VRE at the end properly aligned, they're going to go with his clear intention was, the biggest would be if, what movie was that, or TV show, where they wanted to take down a governor, so they sent 3 lookalikes who would actually change their name to the same name as the governor. So there were 4 people with the same name, and they were just all doing mad imitations of him, and they made him lose his temper. Like, it's crap. Can
you imagine, like, if there were people who had similar names, even around here, that were wait a second, we won't go down that pathway just right now. Before we get to the last section, can I ask about deerskin bikinis, or is it too early? Is it too fresh? I saw this post. David and I are friends on Facebook. He posted this thing the other day, just yesterday, and it was about deerskin bikinis. And I was like, I know exactly what he's talking about, and where he's on Highway 7, just outside of Madoc, and there is a storefront there. Not that I would ever buy one myself. You stopped in.
We were driving on our way there, and one of the passengers in the car was like, oh my God, That's so amazing. That's hilarious. I'm like, do you want to get a picture of the sign? And she's like, okay. I'm like, well, remember, we'll stop on the way back. And so it's early Sunday morning and the place was actually open.
There you go.
So we went in. And by the way, it's a trading post.
Okay.
And it lives up to the name.
Okay.
There were 4 of the friendliest dogs wandering through the store. They had all sorts of handcrafted stuff. But back to the deerskin bikini.
Yes.
I forget, was it $150?
Right around there, yeah.
So the way it would normally work is you would go in and get custom fitted.
Come on.
Or you can get in touch with them and send your measurements.
Wow.
And they will do one for you. And deerskin does not shrink in water.
Okay.
However, from the picture, I don't know if you were surprised or not. It's deer skin, but apparently skin doesn't include fur.
No.
So I was like expecting the whole me Tarzan, you Jane for a bikini sort of thing.
No.
It wasn't quite that, but it was adorable.
Well, there you go. And if you're ever along Highway 7 near Madoc, Ontario, stop in and you'll see the sign. You'll know it because I don't think that part of the sign's changed. And the letters are probably kind of burned into the sign.
Yeah, that deerskin bikini sign's been there forever.
We've got one more section to get through, and this is an amazing way to start the week.
Too many tangents.
Too many things to talk about, but stay with us. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh in for Mike Farwell this week, and I am joined in studio right now with David Drewe. We've got a few minutes left, and we've gotten off on tangents. It's all good. It's good radio. Going through David's notes that he sent over, this caught my attention. PM Mark Carney on 2 states. I'm going to hand it over to you just like that.
Israel and Palestine are the 2 states.
There we go.
And it's this whole Israel-Palestine thing where I'm starting to become disappointed.
Okay.
But to put it in context,
yes,
Mark Carney is not the worst of the world leaders. To me, the worst of the world leaders is the Prime Minister of Britain, Keir Starmer, who says if Israel does not stop their occupation of Gaza, he will recognize Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
So if they stop the invasion, then Palestine's no longer worthy of statehood.
Right, yeah, we don't have to worry about it.
So yeah, that was the horrible, most crass version. But, Canada's, and I said in the notes, I'm starting to see some old liberal habits that I really don't like, and this was the example of it. It's not that they promised to recognize the second state. It's that it was the most mealy-mouthed, non-committal way of doing it.
Right.
So if you are a Liberal MP, you can walk into a room of Palestinian sympathizers and say, we are calling for the recognition of Palestine.
Right.
On the other hand, you can walk into a room full of Israel sympathizers and say, yeah, but we made it conditional on the disarmament of Gaza, of Hamas.
Yeah.
So it's like
you're sitting on the fence and you're just playing both sides.
Yeah, and frankly, does Palestine deserve to be a state? Well, if you look at what the international standards are for statehood, it doesn't meet them. It could.
Yeah.
It could. But there is no government there right now.
You need a stable government, first of all, right?
You need a government. And whether it's a dictatorship led by Hamas or it's the elected Palestinian Authority, neither of them can really hold sovereignty. Right. So they don't quite meet it. But, if we were serious about it, we could send a whole pile of bodies in as peacekeepers and make it viable. Mm-hmm. But, then it's our blood on the line, not just our rhetoric. So anyway, I got to go back to our country now.
Yes.
So Mark Carney puts out this statement, and we're getting all these headlines from the Laurentian consensus media saying, oh my gosh, this change would have never happened so quickly under Trudeau. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I honestly don't see what the difference is in our foreign policy.
Right. Right.
We've always said, yes, we want to recognize Palestine and we want to see that happen. Right. I do not see what the difference is between saying that and saying, and we're going to recognize Palestine once all these other conditions are met. Which, but all of a sudden the media is like, ooh, Trudeau would never have moved so quickly. And so I'm just so annoyed, first of all, at the Liberals, and second of all, at the media, who just keep saying, oh, but this would never have happened under Trudeau. And it's like, yes, it would. You're telling me that a vacuous, gas-baggy statement that means nothing would never come out from the previous prime minister? So, yeah.
It could just happen. It might have happened.
That started off my grouchiness. How much time do we have?
You've got a minute. You can be a grouch for another minute.
Last weekend, an elderly Jewish man was murdered in broad daylight in front of his kids in Montreal.
Yeah.
I can't say that I checked out all of them, but there was not a single comment from any liberal.
Oh, boy.
Until Mark Carnley finally tweeted something.
Right.
And then, boy, oh boy, it was like a photocopier. Just retweet the leader.
Right.
Don't use all the exact same verbs and words and try to make it sound like you have an original thought. Because you didn't on this. And it took you 36 hours to find something to copy on. So it's just these two together of, we have this virtuous sounding statement on the two-state solution. We are so upset about what happened to this man after 36 hours and talking points were given to us. And it's just, this was the worst of the crap coming out of the last Liberal government. And I've been quite fond of Mark Carney so far. I'm skeptical about, when was he actually going to deliver and what's going to happen then. But this was the first time where I was just like, no, this smells so much like everything I hated about the last government. And that's the first time. So I'm not saying this, hey, I hate you, Mark Carney. I'm saying, hey, Mark, please be what I want to like as opposed to everything I used to despise.
There you go. And we're going to, that's the final word from David. He's had his chance. You get your chance after noon, by the way. Thanks so much. This is again, this half hour flies by, and
we freestyle a lot more this time, and it was fun.
We'll do it again next time. Listen, stay with us. We'll get an update from the 570 News Radio News Center, and then it's your chance. It is Talkback from noon until 1. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570, toll free 1-800-570-5715. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio.
Take out the papers and the trash, or you don't get no spending cash. If you don't scrub that kitchen floor, you ain't gonna rock and roll no more. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Just finish cleaning up your room. Let's see that dust fly with that broom. Get all that garbage out of sight, or you don't go out Friday night. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Brock Greenhalgh in for Mike Farwell. I'm with you all week. And all week, the last hour of the show belongs to you. It's Talkback. Something that has piqued your interest. If you want to rave about the amazing weekend you had, you want to rant about the heat, you've got something, you got a bee in your bonnet, something's on your mind, this is your chance. Grant, you've been patiently waiting, and we're going to get you on the air. Grant, what's on your mind today?
Well, I wish we could have those Blue Jays play tonight again.
Oh, you want it? Did you like the game last night?
Yeah, they played it perfectly.
Yeah,
I thought maybe using all of those pitchers would tire them out, but I guess, like the commentator said, you have to do what you have to do to win these games. And that last pitcher of ours, after he walked a couple players, I could see Mr. The guy that has braids in his hair, him or Springer getting our World Series home.
Oh, like a little Joe Carter, a little flashback to Joe Carter.
Yeah, and isn't that kind of nice that that female girl?
First MLB umpire.
No. That girl that was in that tennis tournament.
Oh, yes. Vicky. She won it on the weekend or over the weekend. Yeah, that was great news.
I understand weeks ago that she came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Oh, back before, I think at the beginning of the season, or the year rather, she was not even in the top 300. And then she managed to go there. I love the chat about, and thanks for the call, Grant. Love the chat about the sports. I was a little worried when the Blue Jays dropped the first two games to the Dodgers, because I look at the Dodgers as a measuring stick out of the National League, and I was thinking, ooh, boy, we're in a little bit of a tight spot here right now. Luckily, they did pull out a final win. They got the day off today. After that, they got 9 games at home, and fingers crossed as they take on the Cubs next. Mary, you're up next. What's on your mind today, Mary?
Oh, hi, Brock. Well,
hello.
Listen, Brock, I really like you.
Oh, well, thank you.
I love when you're doing the show. Of course, Mike is number one. And he will stay that way. And I'm the number one listener.
So wait a second. That makes me number 2. Ooh, I don't.
Well, I've always had one.
Okay, I know, but I'm thinking if Mike's number 1, I'm number 2.
No, there's another lady's number 2, and somebody else is number 3. So, Brock,
I think I'm 76 on Mike's list.
Oh, okay.
I'm way down there.
I'm hoping you do well on the tournament, the Happy Gilmores.
Thank you.
I'd love to see it, but we'll see. Right. Was it Thursday?
It's Wednesday, 6 till 8 over at the Badlands here on Ira Needles.
Right. Anyway, I just thought about it, and I thought, this is Monday morning, and I think what I said, I like you, and I apologize for hitting you in the gut.
Oof.
First thing on Monday.
Don't you worry about that, Mary.
Well,
I got broad shoulders.
I do, because I am a people person.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, no, seriously. I mean, seriously, I like when you're the fill-in. And you are excellent at it. Excellent. Don't tell Mike.
I won't. I won't tell him.
Anyway, I loved your jibber jabber with the last guy.
With David. Oh, my. Yeah, he is.
You guys are a pair. You should get up a comedy gig.
Maybe we could do that. And you know where we would go down to the boathouse, Mary, and we'd put it on there.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't go to the Blues because it was too hot.
It was awfully hot. You're absolutely right. It was it was dangerously hot. And but it was well worth it. And thanks for the call back. I appreciate it.
Bad. Now you know that Mel Brown, he put the statue up there.
Yep.
And that we are on the Blues Trail.
That's right, we are. We're and it was interesting to see the different license plates in the parking lot that were there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was people come from far and wide for the Blues Fest. So it's and I know it means a lot.
It does.
And it generates a lot for the hotels and the restaurants and everything else too.
But Mel set us up for the Blues deal.
He did.
Did you know Mel?
I never met Mel, but I go back and I think, he had something going and he had a great idea, and it's interesting. Anytime we drive down Queen Street and people are like, who's like the statue sitting on the park bench? I got a story to tell them.
Yeah. Well, he started up in Pup the Gator.
That's way back.
Did you ever go to Pup?
No, but my roommate in university, he's a flamenco guitarist, he used to go there quite a lot because he loved the blues music. He was a big fan of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and that was his haunting ground.
But anyway, I guess I better be quiet because you got other people.
No worries.
But I have to say, our area, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, we are so blessed to have all this talent and music, and most of it is free.
Absolutely right. That's a blessing. It is. And thanks for that phone call, Mary. You're absolutely right. I didn't make it down to the Burton Cummings show, but I again heard that it was just he put on an amazing show. But the rest of it, free. Show up. We are going to take a quick break. If you're on hold, don't hang up. Stick around. Stay with us. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh's with you this week as Mike is on vacation, taking a break. Kyle, patient man, your patience has paid off for you. What's on your mind today, Kyle?
I'm pretty patient because I'm following a tractor right now on a dirt road. And I can't
You've
pass
got to
it.
be patient.
But you know what? There's no rush because he's just a farmer just going to another place. It's better than being stuck on the 401 not knowing where the next exit's going to be, right? I got 2 raves. The first one is this weather. I know some people don't like the hot weather, but you know what? You wake up in the morning, there's no snow on the ground. You don't have to worry about warming up your vehicle for 20 minutes.
You got that right.
You can go to the beach. You know, if you got air conditioning, it feels good. If you don't have air conditioning, you know, but it doesn't matter. Just go cool off, you know, go swimming somewhere. You know, or maybe the cold ones go down a little bit better. But yeah, you know what? It might be hot, but you know what? It's never too hot because I'd rather deal with this in the cold weather.
All right.
The second rave is against my Toronto Expos there.
Yes.
Fantastic. I know that they lost against the LA Dodgers twice in the series and they came back for the third game, but it just proves that, you know what, we are top contenders here. I mean, the LA Dodgers is no slouch of a team.
No.
They're not like the Rockies there where we got 8 runs in the 9th inning on the last game there.
Yeah, like batting practice.
Exactly. So, I mean, if we can just continue to you know, like, okay, so what? We lost the first 2 games. We played hard. I think they were close games in what I saw. It was not like they were just running away. Like the Blue Jays were trying to stay in there the whole time. So those are my 2 rants, my friend. Anyways, thank you very much. Go Toronto Expos, go. Thanks, man.
You got it. Thanks, Kyle. And I hope the tractor gets out of your way at some point and you're able to continue on your way. Frank, what's on your mind today, Frank?
Yeah, Brock, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's always a nice change to have you. And I didn't get in on Friday to thank Colin for maintaining the summer mood with all the music he was playing.
Oh, yeah.
But what I wanted to say, and I just want to reiterate with you, was I hope you'll continue the summer spirit and not rush the season. I'm always get a little depressed at a little bit at this time of August.
I hear you.
There's just so many people that start rushing the season and they start talking about, well, you know, a month or 2 from now, blah, 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 blah.
That's right.
I'm happy to listen to the events that are coming up in the fall, but let's keep it summer and keep the mood. And the naysayers that try to drag us down, we don't need to hear from them.
No, we don't. And you're right. I said to my wife the other day, you know, these days we want to sip. We want to sip these days. We don't want to gulp them because they go by way too fast. And just enjoy. I find July always flies by, but August tends to go a little slower, and maybe that's going to be the case again. So sip those days and let them last, Frank. I love that. I like that idea.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. You enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of August as well, too, Frank.
I plan on it.
All right. I'm happy to hear from them. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. Toll free, 1-800-570-5715. It's Talkback. This is your chance. And sometimes it's like, well, I don't know if I should call. Give us a call. We'll put you on the air. We had been talking earlier in the day today about the idea of your best or worst summer job, because I would think there are some doozies. Maybe that sparks some interest in you. I spent a summer living in Penetanguishene when I was in university, and I got to dress in period costumes. It was working at the time, the historic naval and military establishment. It's now renamed, but spent the summer wearing wool costume. 4 days on, 3 days off, which was pretty sweet. We got season tickets or season passes to Canada's Wonderland at the time. But on the 4 days, 2 days I was a soldier. 1 day I played Lieutenant Bayfield, who mapped out all the Great Lakes. And then the other day you got to be captain of the whole thing, and you had to play it in first person. You had to pretend it was the 1800s. That was a lot of fun. Best job, worst job, maybe that'll get you to call in. Maybe you want to call in because you are one of the there's a couple of different terms I've used now. The fearsome foursome. Greg, you can count yourself as one of the fearsome foursome, and we'll go from as long as I've got the right Greg here. Hold on a second, let's figure this out. Greg, how are you today?
Yeah, this is Greg, 38, still worn out from the driving range. So,
that was a warm one, but that's all we needed. We just needed a little warm up, Greg. We're going to be ready for Wednesday.
I'm just surprised I got some balls to go more than maybe 20 feet. That's
all we need. We can count on you for putting. You can do the putting for us.
All right, sounds good. So, we all had our moments. I was going to say, I think we'll all have our moments this time too. And I was just thinking, okay, do you know anybody else that has a foursome in this?
I don't, but I have one friend that was going to reach out to some buddies and maybe put a group together. I will see what I can do if I can find out anything from Brian Burke. Maybe we'll get the inside scoop and figure out.
Is Brian himself golfing? Is he one of them?
I think he's going to be in charge of looking after the rubber ducks and the unicorns. We'll see.
Running it, okay.
Yeah.
No, because when it comes to these scramble tournaments where ultimately, the score doesn't get you, the score doesn't get you much.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you know another foursome, a bit of trash talk and side bet is sometimes maybe, incentive to, put a bit more effort out there.
We got to put our money where our mouth is.
Well, that's why I thought maybe another foursome, like, okay, maybe they think they're pretty good, but it's like, okay, what's it worth to you? Like the first drink after or something like that. Anyways, I'll let you work on that so you can see the whole lineup of the day because I don't know anyone else in it. So
all right, I'll see what I can do and I'll share the info that I get.
Yeah, but I'd be willing to risk our talent level to some extent.
Whoa.
That might. I'm not going to go and say, okay, let's
no.
A whole new set of golf clubs for real golf after this. No. So.
Well, I like your thinking, and I'll give me a call back later on, Greg. I got to take a break here, but he's one of the foursome, one of the fearsome foursome that's going to take over Badlands on Wednesday. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell, toll free 1-800-570-5715. Stay with us, though. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh in for Mike Farwell for this week. It's Talkback Hour. You get to call in. You get to tell us what's going on. We got a little bit of time right before the 12:30 news. Brian, this is your chance to rant, rave. What's on your mind today, Brian?
First of all, I can't believe you clowns decided to practice.
What? What are you talking about?
That just makes me laugh.
Huh. Well, you will be laughing all the way to the bank with that big check you're going to give us.
Well, that's right. That's up to $1 million.
Woo-wee!
I know. Up to clearly includes the number 0. Remember that. It's going to be an event like no other.
Yes.
And, the highlight being a 12-foot high inflatable unicorn.
Yes.
Which is difficult to shoot over with a 7-iron. Trust me.
Okay. Sounds like you've been practicing, Brian.
To test these things out, I have to make sure. Can you chip a rubber duck into a bucket?
I can try.
You're going to have to try because you could also win another fabulous prize.
Ooh.
I just wanted to call for thank you for having us on the air back a few weeks ago. That helped us get to a sellout. It's the first time we've ever done this event. So selling it out's a really big deal. It really is just about networking and fun. And we've never done this kind of summertime event, so I'm going to be glad you're there. If you guys want to put side bets, we encourage gambling. We're open to that kind of thing. And I know there's all kinds of people there who would be happy to take your bet.
Well, I'm looking on your website. It says support, educate, energize, and gamble.
Well, yeah, we keep that one off.
Okay.
We'll put that over to the side.
Right.
But if you want to set up a little game there, we'll be all over it. I'll be playing somewhere. I just don't know with whom.
Okay. All right. We wondered, Greg was wondering, I thought maybe you might be in charge of, driving the unicorn if it needs to be taken anywhere, or the blindfold. Is that another one we have to do?
Yes, you have to putt with a blindfold on, which,
awesome.
In a lot of cases helps your game.
I would think so. I usually close my eyes and pray, so that'll work.
There you go. Yeah, so you might be just the one for that. So all of these things designed to ruin your score as much as possible.
It is going to be a ton of fun. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's great to have you out there. And like I say, we sold out. Some are members of the Center for Family Business and sponsors. Some are not. They're new to us, and that's always a good thing, too.
That's
right.
right.
Look forward to seeing you, Brock, and wish you nothing but the worst.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Brian Burke, everyone, with the Center for Family Business. He's the one running the Rubber Ducks on Wednesday. We're going to take a break. We'll get an update from the news center. Stay with us, though. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh in for the vacationing Mike Farwell this week. I'll be with you all the way till Friday. Maybe by Friday, the temperature around here will be back to normal. But like Kyle was saying, can't complain. Don't have to shovel it. All right. Grant, what's on your mind? What's happening today?
Well, you mentioned worst jobs.
Yes. What do you got for me? Worst job ever, Grant.
Working at the Waterloo Motor Inn, running the dishwasher.
Oh.
Yeah. I'd start a shift at 7.
Yep.
Leave about 9, and it was really busy.
Yep.
And then Friday late night, they would have a wedding, and you come in on Saturday, and the dishes would be piled mile high on the floor.
Oh, gosh.
And you had to get that done before the Saturday brunch.
Oh, yeah.
So you got all that cleared up, and then you head over to do the pots and pans by hand, and the pots and pans were the worst because they would bake scout potatoes, and they'd be sitting there for several days smelling.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to get that out with steel wool.
No.
Well, and I appreciate the call. Grant took us up on the offer to give us worst job ever, worst job or best summer job, whatever you got for us. Yeah, that's a rough one, right? I have done some dishwashing in my time, not how I would want to spend more of my time. Greg, what's on your mind? What's happening?
Yeah, same Greg again.
No problem.
You said fearless, but I've been called scary a lot. Is that?
Well, it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing.
Okay, because that one I'm used to in case that happens. But no, I just had a few other thoughts before time ran out, and then after Brian called, that put another thought in me. And so starting with him, I know that he's known to be a shady character, such that he says he doesn't know who he's golfing with. Well, let's do the math. If it's sold out, I think the names are there. I bet you he's stacked a team and basically was going to come in and say, like, oh, yeah, no, we don't know what we're doing. And wants to, he'll take our bet, put it that way.
Yeah. Like, I've never played poker before. What are all these A's and Kings about? I know that kind of guy.
Yeah, so I think he's known to be on the shady side of things. So that definitely has the ability to if he wants to. And then, I guess because Monday's supposed to be ranting and raving, let's rant a bit. Okay. I have not got a message from Mike yet as to when our beer time is. And
now he's on holiday for another week.
Right, but still 4 days have gone by, and he hasn't even said. And then he said last time that, I really didn't do anything. So apparently I rated even lower than doing nothing. So I thought, let's change that for this time. And so I was thinking maybe you could find him, because when you talk, people listen, right?
Well, some people do. My children don't, but that's okay.
I thought you have a lot more influence, but than I would. But anyway, so
I'll find out what I can. And it's usually with Mike, it's 8 to 10 business days. So we'll see if he gets back to you.
Oh, geez, I could be really thirsty by then. But well, see what you can do. And then on this job thing, now that it sort of became a topic, back in the summer job university days. Do you remember Hoffman Meats on Maple Street in Kitchener?
No, I don't. But I bet it was.
They gave the students the really awesome jobs.
I bet.
Two summers in a row. Can you picture 8-hour shifts of tearing the inner layer of fat out of hogs' rib cages?
Great.
It was called pulling leaf lard because they eventually made lard out of this stuff.
Oh my!
But,
not a way to spend. But you made millions at it though.
Oh well, back then in the early '80s, $10.65 an hour. That was almost millions.
Oh my gosh, $10.65.
I remember saying, like, just for the summer. I need the money.
You can get through it.
I saw one guy hired for full time. He quit after a half hour. He said, "Forget this." So there. See if someone's got a worse story than that. So
all right, we'll do. Thanks. Okay. Thanks again, Greg. Wow, working like an abattoir, right, in the summertime. No, thank you, Sean. What's on your mind today, Sean? Thanks for giving us a call.
Hey, Brock. How are you today?
Very well, and yourself?
I'm great. I'm hot, obviously,
yes.
But I'm doing okay. You were talking about worst jobs, and then you mentioned best jobs. I want to give you my best summer job that I've ever had, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
The best summer job I ever had, it started in 1999, and I bring this up because I listened when you hosted last time, and I know you're a bit of an inter-county baseball fan.
Yes.
And the best summer job I ever had was when I got hired in 1999 as the public address announcer for the Kitchener Panthers.
Nice.
I did that for a decade, and then I took a break from it just because I got so busy, but it helped. The reason it was the best is because it's where I started announcing.
Perfect.
And I've done public address now for 26 years in 12 different sports and 3,000 games.
Oh, my gosh.
I just returned to the Kitchener Panthers this year, where I'm sharing PA duties with my son.
That is amazing, Sean.
So the best summer job I ever had was something that kind of carved an unexpected career path. I mean, it went to the PA announcing, it went to all the TV work and everything, but that was really the best, and it's really nice to be back home at Jack Coach Park again. And when you're at a game next time, knock on the press box door. I'd love to say hello in person.
I will for sure. I'll do that for sure, and I'll come up and see you and your son. That's amazing, Sean.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks for that call. That's amazing. That and as Sean was saying, it just kind of who knew back in 1999, and 26 years later, it has become a huge part of his life. Yeah, great summer jobs, not so great summer jobs, whatever you got on your mind, anything really. But I'm glad Sean took me up on the offer. That was a great thing to hear about. I will definitely stop by and knock on the press box, go up there and watch the game from up there for a little while and have a yak. That'll be a lot of fun. Give us a call, 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. Toll free, 1-800-570-5715. We'll take a quick break. Stay with us. You're listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh filling in for Mike Farwell, who is on holidays today. Never fear, he will be back in the chair next week. Mike has been patiently waiting. Could this be the Mike? Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm very well, Brock. How are you?
I'm better now that you called in. What's on your mind?
Oh, I just wanted to go with the job thing there. Really quick, my favorite job that I ever had for the summer was landscaping. I absolutely loved landscaping. It wasn't the best paying job.
No.
But, man, I love being outside. It's probably where I got my green thumb from. And, that was a great summer job. But my worst summer job, I actually didn't even know it was going to be just a summer job. But I worked in a foundry.
Oh.
And I worked probably about 15 feet away from a cauldron or a furnace that was melting metal into liquid so that we could pour it into molds.
Right.
And this would be in the 40-degree heat outside where we would go to cool off.
Aye.
And I actually didn't even know it was going to be just a summer job, but my uncle was the one that was the foreman that hired me.
Yep.
And there was a short layoff, and then I called him back. I said, why didn't I get called back? He said, listen, I've been here for 16 years, and there is no way you are spending the next 16 years of your life here. And I'm very thankful. I've been in a totally different career for the last 22 years.
That's a great story. And at first you're like, what the heck? But I hear you. Thanks for that call, Mike. Mike talking about that summer job that didn't last, and his uncle was like, you're not going to stick around here. I had a similar story. My dad grew up in England, and he, at the age of 14, started his apprenticeship until he was 21 as a cabinet maker, as a woodworker. And at the age of 21, the company he'd been with let him go. He had just got his papers, and he's like, what are you doing? You're letting me go. And the boss said to him, look, his name was Alfred. He said, look, Alf, if you stay here, you're always going to be young Alf. You're never going to be anything other than that, because all the guys that you've worked with are still going to think you're this young kid. You're not a young kid anymore. Go out there and he said, I'll give you an amazing reference, but you're not staying here. Again, a bit of a hard knock, but you're like, okay, I get it. I get where you're coming from. And important for us to remember those things. Ron, you're on the air. What's on your mind today?
Hey, so I think I figured out how you can win against Brian Burke.
Let's hear it.
You get him talking about his hatred for the TV dinner.
And then he'll just lose all composure and not be able to putt properly.
Bingo.
Okay.
The thing is, he ranted so much when he had, if he was back in the day when he still had a show.
Yeah.
And he had basically producer Paulie and also Brittany laughing so hard, I think they couldn't even keep their composure on the show at all, because he was just ranting and raving about how you can use a hungry man to de-ice your driveway.
Oh my! I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that in my back pocket, Ron. Thanks so much for that information. That's intel that I'm gonna use with the Fearsome Foursome. Especially, apparently, the way they've got it set up, there's 4 of us and then another foursome on the same hole. So if Burke happens to be in that other foursome, just watch out, because you don't know what's going to happen. Bill, you're on the air. What's on your mind today, Bill?
Yeah, just wanted to applaud the educational systems in our area for taking their information off of the platform Twitter.
Off of X, yes, I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you. That's and it's one of those things where it may be a small thing, but it makes a big effect for sure.
Yeah, well, even noticing what he could extrapolate from the data to help with Doge and his. There's no privacy in that. You know what I mean?
Right. I hear you. And that just mining all the data that's there.
Yeah, and with Doug Ford, I think that was wise removing our further communications from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wonder, I hope Rogers would do the same. Like, they're now pushing that Elon Musk, like the Starlink.
Right.
And that's another Elon Musk company that can take our data and take it down to the States and use it for whatever he would like.
All right, that's a good point, Bill, and I appreciate the call for that, and thanks for that. Give us a call. We still got 10 minutes before we get to the top of the hour, and we will take one more break before then. But before we get to that point, a couple of other things off the list when it comes to how to have a cool life. I know your life's pretty cool already. Promote a charity. Hey, we were talking with the Food Bank of Waterloo Region today, and there is something to keep in mind. This is a big one for me. Enjoy a terrible sitcom. I am so wrapped up in a show right now called The Righteous Gemstones. No one else in my family will watch it with me. I have to book in specific times when no one else is around to watch that show. And if you like ridiculous comedy, The Righteous Gemstones. If you don't, I wouldn't watch it. Okay? But there you go. Enjoy one of those terrible sitcoms. Start a time capsule. What would you put in your time capsule? 2025, what would you put in there today? That's another good question. What goes in the time capsule, and where do you go from there? We're clicking along. I'm going to be able to use this list for the rest of the week, just any time that we need to have a little break. Speaking of a little break, we will take one. Stay with us, though. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio. Brock Greenhalgh sitting in for Mike Farwell this week. It is Talkback. We've got time for a few more phone calls. Give us a shout. Let us know what's on your mind. And you can get it off your chest. Maybe there's something that's just been bugging you, or you just really wanted to let everybody know what's been happening. 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell. Toll free 1-800-570-5715. What's the rest of your day look like? Looking warm out there. Take it easy. Right? Just don't push it. If you got a basement, hang out in your basement. If you don't, cooling centers. Check it out online. City Hall. That's the best place to go. And the air conditioning is on. Get yourself out of the heat. It's not safe. Again, check in on your neighbors. Check in and just make sure that they're doing okay. If you haven't seen anybody in a while, right? It's a neighborly thing to do. We talked about community earlier today and how important that is as well, too. Looking at the rest of the week, as I said before, the last hour of every show this week is going to be Talkback. Tomorrow, we know that we're going to have a bit of a chat around mental health. Wednesday, the Blue Jay Hunter, Ian Hunter, will join us. On Thursday, we've got the flip side like we normally do. And Friday, the 4 panel will be here, as well as Waterloo Region Sports and Entertainment. We'll have a look at everything related to the Panthers, what's going on there. And it's soon going to be hockey season in the region and basketball season in the region. Amazing how quickly the time just clicks along. And we want to be able to talk about all those things that are going on. So tomorrow, lucking out after work tomorrow, going into the big city for a Blue Jays game. Looking forward to that. And they're playing the Cubs. 3 games against the Cubs, then 3 games against the Texas Rangers, 3 games against the Pirates, who have been struggling this year. So again, fingers crossed we can make up a little more distance between ourselves and the Red Sox and the Yankees and start talking about magic numbers and all that fun stuff. We'll see where we're at. But again, that's where we're headed tomorrow. Wednesday evening, I don't know if they let crowds in. I don't know if it's like a PGA or an LPGA sort of tournament where you're lined up along the sides and watching all of the action take place. But if you don't have anything on your schedule, maybe you want to make your way over to the Badlands on Wednesday night. Come and cheer on the fearsome foursome as we embark on maybe what could become a new career path for the 4 of us. A few more things to keep in mind off the list of things that you can do to be cool, especially on a day like today. Go find out what your great-grandparents did for a living. If you have no idea, maybe that's what you want to do. Tell a friend why you appreciate them so much. Lean off a balcony until you're really scared. I wouldn't be very far off that balcony. And start a conversation with a stranger. All some things that you can think about that would make your life even cooler than it is right now. Let's put a bow on the Monday edition of the show. Go out there and enjoy it. And as Mike would say, be kind, everyone. Have a great day. You've been listening to The Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio.